Welcome back to part 2 of the Atom Cup. Now these cars are road legal, which is pretty cool, but I think these guys get a bit carried away. Let's have a look and see what happened when one of the drivers took their car into London. We're here now, where the cars are waiting to go out on track for race 2. The grid is based on race 1, where the top 5 cars are reversed, which means Lewis Cook is on pole. Now it's just started to rain here, so that means things could get pretty interesting. Let's see what happens.
Well, it certainly should be very entertaining as the rain falls ever more steadily. This then is how they line up. With Lewis Cook and Nick Whitehead on the front row with Richard Marler and Paul Donkin on row 2. Then Stuart Drull and Matt Walton with John Hamilton completing the pack as the rain falls. Some of them heading to the grid, a couple of others possibly missing. And yes, in the pit lane there is Matt Walton, who is getting ready for the off. Also, I make it John Hamilton, who is potentially starting from the pits as well. Yes, there is Hamilton, who rolls to a halt. Marshall's getting them into position as the other cars already on the start and finish straight, ready for the off as the red lights flash on, and out they go, away we go. And it's a good start from Lewis Cook from pole position in the yellow machine, with alongside him the bright orange car, Nick Whitehead, and it's Whitehead who's going to challenge Cook here as they sprint towards Coppice to the first. And also a brilliant getaway from Paul Donkin with the sky blue trim as he challenges the outside line. Already John Hamilton away out of the pits, and here Matt Walton looking to get onto turns to the rest of the pack as quickly as possible as they work their way around Charlie's for the first time before heading on to the park straight. And Hamilton very sensibly being circumspect, just feeling where the grip is in these early stages. Nick Whitehead's not got that luxury because he and Lewis Cook, along with Paul Donkin, are ready in a fairly frenetic fight at the field. Matt Walton very rapidly trying to insert himself into that fight as he is on the tail of Stuart Drull. Also Richard Marler as well. It's Marler immediately in front of Matt Walton. Let's head round park and through Chris Curve. Whitehead trying to pull clear of Lewis Cook at the moment. Then just on his tail is Paul Donkin, and there's 3. It's Donkin who probably looks the most comfortable with these early conditions. The drivers still really feeling their way around as they come out of the gooseneck on towards Mansfield. Donkin shows his ambition to the inside Lewis Cook as they hit the brakes into Mansfield and then climb up onto their tail. The race 1 winner, Stuart Drull. So we have another look at the start. It was Lewis Cook, number 67, the yellow car, who got the immediately best getaway, but then Nick Whitehead found second gear maybe a little bit more smoothly, and Paul Donkin trying to squeeze through, but no space on the very narrow start to finish straight here at Cadwell Park, so he remains a somewhat frustrated third as they come into Barn Corner and on to complete the first lap of the race, and the field really running as one. And this is the beauty of the Atom Cup we've seen thus far this season. The cars so evenly matched, and we've had some absolutely fantastic racing. And this, though, in the damp conditions. A new challenge to the drivers as Donkin makes a brilliant move on Lewis Cook, races through into second position. Matt Walton trying to do the same to Richard Marler and challenges around the outside of the Marler into Coppice. He might also look to try and do the same to Stuart Drull as they arrive into Charlie's. Stuart, though, able to move across, takes the racing line. No room at the end then for Matt Walton. Have another look at Lewis Cook being demoted then by Paul Donkin. Donkin so late on the brakes into Coppice. Really brave stuff there from Donkin. Nick Whitehead now being reeled in by Paul Donkin, and we thought that Paul Donkin maybe got the pace in these early stages. He's got himself right up onto the tail of Nick Whitehead as they climb over the mountain on towards Hall Bends. You can't really overtake in Hall Bends, it's just about getting the rhythm spot on, because maybe on the brakes into the hairpin, if you're feeling very, very ambitious, you can just about squeeze through. John Hamilton is also from the pit lane, steadily climbing his way out through the field as Richard Marler gets it all wrong in front of him. And John Hamilton able to pick his way past Marler, who did very well to hold that angle of the dangle as they accelerate out of Barn. The leading duo still nose to tail, having a very nice scrap. But they've got to be careful here, they don't slow themselves down too much, as Donkin now looking to challenge the outside Nick Whitehead as they sprint towards Coppice. And that would be an incredibly brave move from Paul Donkin if he can pull it off. He can't quite do it. Nick Whitehead able to place his atom in all the right places at the right times, but as they come out of Charlie's, it is Donkin who's been able to push his way through into the lead of the race. Nick Whitehead, I thought he'd got the line covered at Coppice. John Hamilton continues his scrap with Richard Marler. Gets all a bit sideways and clearly grip at a premium. These cars don't have aerodynamic aids, and it really makes for spectacular racing. And now that Donkin is through, clear of Nick Whitehead, trying to pull clear. The next group of 4 cars headed up by Lewis Cook. He has got Stuart Drawl, and then John Hamilton in his tail. And of those 3, it's probably John Hamilton who's looking the fastest at the moment. He's just steadily working his way up through the pack, letting the race unfold in front of him. And Hamilton makes the move on Drawl, and he's going to try and squeeze past Lewis Cook as well. Cook covers the line just in time, puts John Hamilton a wheel on the grass, another wheel on the grass as he arrives in to second element to Charlie, sprints onto the park straight, and Hamilton's just getting that atom absolutely beautifully hooked up onto the park straight, sprinting towards Park Bend. Now he's up to 3rd. Could he possibly get onto terms with the race leader, Paul Donkin? Donkin accelerates out of Chris Curve with Nick Whitehead on his tail. So we have another look at just how close it got between Lewis Cook and John Hamilton. Hamilton brave enough to put the wheel on the white line and onto the grass as well, but it wasn't quite enough to be able to prize that opening on Lewis Cook on the way through Charlie's. Instead, on the exit, he was just able to get the traction and pulled through. And now, look at this, Hamilton's up into 2nd position and challenging Paul Donkin for the race win. We're heading towards the latter stages of proceedings here as well, as they head out of the hairpin on towards Barn Corner. And is that going to be Hamilton's opening? Oh, that's brilliant from John Hamilton. Can he make it stick? He catches Donkin completely by surprise and dives through and takes the lead of the race. Super driving there from John Hamilton. You very rarely see overtaking manoeuvres into Barn Corner at Cadwell Park, particularly on 4 wheels. Well, let's have another look at the remarkable lap from John Hamilton. First of all, into Mansfield, that's 2nd place away from Nick Whitehead, and then gets a good exit from Mansfield on towards the mountain. Then this move into Barn, jinks out at the last possible moment, draws alongside Paul Donkin by the time Donkin wants to turn into the corner. Through he goes into the lead of the race. Fortunately, going no further is Richard Marler. Somewhat frustrated trudge away for him, but from John Hamilton starting the race in the pits to come through and claim victory in the 4th race of the inaugural Atom Cup, the 3rd different winner we've had this year. 2nd place goes the way of Paul Donkin, with Nick Whitehead then driving very solidly to complete the podium. Let's take a look then at the final results, with victory for John Hamilton, 2nd place Donkin, 3rd Nick Whitehead, with Stuart Drawl and Lewis Cook in 4th and 5th, and Matt Walton completing the pack in 6th.
Well, as you say, I decided to take the option to go on wet simply because I crashed out in race 1. I thought it would be the better option of the 2, and I was taking a punt. It might have dried out, it might have stayed wet. Then I had a collision on the green flag lap, so I had to start from the pit lane, and I just thought I'm going to drive a really sensible race. It's still raining, I'm just going to wait. Everybody's going to make mistakes at some point, and eventually they all started to make mistakes. Started reeling them in, no crazy overtaking manoeuvres, just waiting until I actually had clear space to go past, getting the drive out the corners. Went past them, and then when I saw that I was pulling away, I thought, right, okay, I'm going to rein it in because I don't want to make a silly mistake myself. I'll just cruise around. Lap times would have been abysmal. I'm sure if other guys had been on wet tyres, it would have been a lot closer, but you know, that's racing, that's the call you make sometimes, and sometimes you get it right and sometimes you don't.
Didn't really think I'd finish 2nd. The conditions were absolutely horrendous. I wanted to go out on wet tyres, but we couldn't change apparently. John, I mean, great drive, but he was on wet, but he's a quick guy anyway, so well done to him. We had a bit of a dice with Nick behind me. me and Richard. That was a good race as well. I spent most of the race on my own, to be honest, which I didn't really mind. Just kind of got in a groove. Just did my own thing for a few laps.
All in all, I'm glad. I'm pleased of how I drove the second race. First race, a bit disappointed because I spun it. I was in second place and I had a good chance of winning. And that first race, I was a second quicker than everyone else. So I'm really disappointed that I didn't really convert that one. But I got fourth in the first one, third in this one. So yeah, I'm doing all right. And this is only my second race in a car, or second meeting in a car. So yeah, I'm doing okay.
Well, that's the end of an action-packed weekend here at Cadwell Park for the second round of Atom Cup. We're hitting Brands Hatch next, so let's see how the boys do there. Until the next time, goodbye. Keep up to date with the on-track action by following Atom Cup on Facebook or Twitter.